The mausoleum stood on a hill above the Ade Palace. It was old, it was white, it was quiet. It had been built 400 years before, for the queens of Naboo who had died young. Padmé Amidala's name was carved into the marble. Beneath her name, 2 dates. One date was the day she had been born. The other date was the day she had died. In every galaxy, in every timeline, in every story anyone had ever told, both dates had been true. In one galaxy only, one of them was a lie. The night was cold. The twin moons of Naboo rose behind the marble pillars. The wind moved through the cypress trees. The waterfalls of the palace below made a sound like a low hymn. A ship landed on the hill. It was black. It was angular. It was a Lambda-class shuttle. A man stepped out. The man wore a black suit. The man wore a helmet. The man wore a breathing apparatus that hissed with every breath he took. He was tall. He was heavy. He was Vader. Darth Vader walked toward the mausoleum. He carried a small bag in his hand. The bag contained a hydrospanner. The bag contained a cutting torch. The bag contained 2 small portraits he had stolen from the Imperial archives on Coruscant. The portraits were of 2 children. The children had been hidden from him. The children had been hidden from him for 19 years. The children had been hidden behind lie upon lie upon lie. Bail Organa had lied. Mon Mothma had lied. Obi-Wan Kenobi had lied. Yoda had lied. Vader had not known. Vader had not known that Padmé had been pregnant when she had died. Vader had not known that she had given birth on a small medical station called Polis Massa. Vader had not known that there had been twins. Vader had not known. And Vader had spent 19 years in a black suit, hunting the rebellion, hunting the remaining Jedi, hunting the friends of the man he had used to be. Now he was here. Now he was going to open the coffin of his wife. The door of the mausoleum was sealed with a heavy Beskar lock. The lock was Naboo make. The lock was 4 centuries old. The lock had only 3 keys in the entire galaxy. Vader had 2 of them. Vader had stolen them from the Naboo Royal Museum 6 months before. He put the first key in. He turned it. A click. He put the second key in. He turned it. Another click. The door opened. Vader stepped inside. The mausoleum was dark. The mausoleum smelled of marble dust. The mausoleum smelled of flowers that had been placed at the foot of the sarcophagus 19 years before and had not been replaced since. Vader walked down the aisle. His footsteps echoed. His breathing echoed. The cold air whispered around his cape. At the end of the aisle was the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus was black marble. The sarcophagus had been carved by the same sculptor who had carved the throne of Theed Palace. Vader stopped in front of it. He put his hand on the lid. He did not move for a long time. He had asked himself the question for 20 years. He had asked it the night she had died on Polis Massa. He had asked it the morning Obi-Wan had cut off his arm and left him burning on the banks of a lava river. He had asked it every night he had walked into a fresh rebellion cell and seen her face in the prisoners they captured. The same face, the same jaw, the same eyes. Why had she died? He had killed the younglings. He had killed the Jedi. He had killed his brother-in-law, the man who had held his newborn son. No, he had not killed Padmé. Palpatine had killed her. His master had killed her. The lightning had been the key. The lightning had been the trap. The trap had been the dream. He had been told the dream was her death in childbirth. He had been told the dream was his fault. He had been told if he wanted to save her, he had to turn. And he had turned. And she had died anyway. Or so he had been told. The lid was heavy. The lid slid slowly across the marble. The lid scraped against the edge of the sarcophagus and made a sound like a sigh. Vader looked down into the dark. He saw a sheet. The sheet was folded neatly over the body. The sheet was white. The sheet had not yellowed. Something was wrong. Vader leaned forward. He extended his hand. He touched the sheet with his black glove. The sheet was warm. Vader's breathing stopped. He did not breathe for 7 seconds. He did not breathe because his respirator had failed for 7 seconds. He did not breathe because his body had remembered how to be still. The sheet was warm. The body under the sheet was warm. The body under the sheet had been warm for 19 years. Vader pulled back the sheet. The face underneath was Padmé Amidala's face. The face was young. The face was at peace. The face had not aged a single day since the day she had died, and her eyes were open. Padmé Amidala opened her eyes at 3:17 in the morning, Naboo time. She opened them slowly. She opened them the way you open your eyes when you have been sleeping a long time. She opened them the way you open your eyes when you have been dreaming, and the dream has ended. The dream had been 19 years long. She saw the cold marble above her. She saw the carving of her own name. She saw the 2 dates. She saw a man in a black suit leaning over her. She saw the helmet. She saw the breathing apparatus. She saw the wide shoulders of the suit. She did not recognize him. "Where am I?" she asked. Her voice was small. Her voice was dry from 19 years of not being used. Vader did not answer. "Why am I cold?" she asked. "Where are my babies?" The breathing apparatus hissed and hissed and hissed. And then, for the first time in 20 years, Vader spoke her name. Padmé. Padmé heard the voice. The voice came through the helmet modulator. The voice was low. The voice was damaged. The voice was not the voice of the boy from Tatooine. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am." Vader stopped. He stopped because he did not know how to introduce himself. He did not know what name he had. He did not know what name was left. "I am Darth Vader," he said. The name meant nothing to Padmé. She had never heard the name. The name had not been invented in her galaxy. "I don't know that name," she said. Vader's shoulders dropped 1 inch. The motion was almost invisible under the cape, but it was the most motion his body had made in 19 years. "I am your husband," he said. Padmé laughed. The laugh was weak. The laugh was the laugh of a woman who had been asleep for 19 years and had just woken up to a stranger who thought he was her husband. "I was married once," she said, "to a Jedi, a boy from Tatooine. He had curly hair. He had blue eyes. He was 9 years old when I met him. He was 19 years old when I married him." Vader nodded. "Yes," he said, "that boy. He is me." "The babies," Padmé said. "Where are my babies? I need to see them. I will take them home to the waterfalls. I will feed them. I need to." "Padmé," Vader said. "Stop." She stopped. "The babies," Vader said. "They are not babies anymore." Padmé looked up at him. Her eyes were wide. Her eyes had not seen a child in 19 years. Her eyes had only seen her dream. "How old are they?" she asked. 19, Vader said. Padmé went quiet. 19. Her babies were 19. Her babies were adults. Her babies had grown up without her. Her babies had grown up without her in the galaxy her husband had helped to rule. "Where are they?" she asked. "Tell me their names. Tell me everything. Tell me where they are. Tell me what they look like." Vader reached into his cape. He pulled out the 2 small portraits. He set them down beside the sarcophagus. "The boy is named Luke," Vader said. "He is on a planet called Tatooine. He is a farmer. He has your face." Padmé picked up the first portrait. She held it in both hands. She looked at the boy's face. "He looks like his father," she whispered. Vader nodded. "The girl is named Leia," Vader said. "She is on a planet called Alderaan. She is a senator. She has your courage." Padmé picked up the second portrait. She looked at the girl's face. "She has my eyes," she whispered. Vader drove Padmé home. The home was not Theed Palace. The home was a small safe house 5 kilometers outside the city. The safe house had been built by Captain Antilles during the Clone Wars. The safe house had been given to Bail Organa. The safe house had been kept empty for 19 years in case of emergency. Padmé was the emergency. She sat on the couch. She held the 2 portraits. She did not let go. Vader sat across from her. He sat in a chair. He sat very still. His respirator hissed. Their daughter Leia had been on Alderaan. Their daughter Leia had been on Alderaan when the Death Star had destroyed the planet. Their daughter Leia had died 19 years after Vader had opened the coffin. Their son Luke was still alive. Their son Luke was still on Tatooine. Their son Luke was 20 minutes away by shuttle. Their son Luke had never met their daughter Leia. Their daughter Leia had never met their son Luke. Padmé closed her eyes. "Is she alive?" she asked. Vader did not answer. "Did you kill her?" Padmé asked. Vader nodded. He nodded once. He did not explain. He did not defend. He did not make excuses. "She died in the destruction of Alderaan," Vader said. "The Death Star. My master ordered it. The order came from my master. I did not stop it." Obi-Wan had the hope. "And the boy?" she asked. "Alive," Vader said. Padmé stood up from the couch. She walked out the front door of the safe house. She walked into the night. She walked under the twin moons of Naboo. She stood in the grass and she looked at the waterfalls in the distance. "I am going to see my son," she said. Vader did not argue. "I am going to tell him who I am," she said. Vader did not argue. "I am going to ask him to forgive his father." Vader did not argue. "And if he does not forgive his father," she said, "I am going to ask him to forgive his father anyway." Vader's shoulders dropped. The motion was small. The motion was the same motion she had seen in the mausoleum 1 hour before. "Padmé," Vader said, "I am a monster." "Yes," she said, "I know. I married you anyway. I married you because you were 9 years old. I married you because you built a droid out of spare parts because you were lonely. I married you because you promised to come back to Tatooine for your mother and you did. I married you because you cried at her funeral and Obi-Wan held your shoulder." She turned. She faced him. "You are not a monster," she said. "You are my husband, and you grew up in a black suit because you were scared, and you wore the suit because you did not know what else to do. And I am going to bring you home." Tatooine was a desert planet. Tatooine had 2 suns. Tatooine had no rain. Tatooine had no grass. Tatooine had moisture farmers and Jawas and crate dragons and a small white dome of a moisture farm that belonged to a man named Owen Lars. Inside the dome, a boy named Luke Skywalker was eating dinner. He was 19 years old. He had sandy hair. He had blue eyes. He had his mother's face. He had his father's build. He was about to leave Tatooine and join the rebellion. He was about to leave because two of his friends had just been killed by the Empire on a planet called Alderaan. He was about to leave because his uncle and his aunt had just been killed by Imperial stormtroopers. Luke was about to leave, and he did not know that his parents were still alive. Luke was about to leave, and he did not know that his father had just walked out of a mausoleum on Naboo with his mother on his arm. Luke was about to leave, and he did not know that a ship was landing outside the Lars homestead right now. A knock came on the door. Luke opened the door. He saw a woman. The woman had been young when she had been put to sleep in the mausoleum. The woman was still young. The woman was 19 again. The woman had round eyes and a kind face, and she smelled of Naboo flowers. He did not know her. He had never seen her picture. He had never seen her portrait. He had only seen her in the dreams that he had been told were just dreams. "Mama," he said. The word came out of his mouth before he knew he was saying it. The word came out of his mouth because the Force was pushing it. The word came out of his mouth because the Force had been waiting 19 years for him to say it. Padmé Amidala Skywalker knelt in the sand at the door of the moisture farm. "Yes," she said. "Mama." Luke Skywalker collapsed onto his knees. He put his arms around her. He buried his face in her shoulder. He cried. He had not cried since his aunt and uncle had died that morning. He cried the way a child cries when the child has been alone for 19 years and finally finds the parent who had been missing. Behind his mother, in the shadow of the doorway, Luke saw the figure of a man in a black suit. The man's breathing apparatus hissed. Luke pulled back from his mother. He stood up. He wiped his eyes. He looked at the man in the black suit. The man was tall. The man was broad. The man was heavy in the shoulders. The man wore a cape. The man wore a black helmet. The man wore a control panel on his chest. "Who are you?" Luke asked. Vader did not answer. "My father?" Luke asked. Vader nodded, slowly. "Are you Darth Vader?" Luke asked. Vader's respirator hissed. The hiss got louder for a moment, then it got quieter. "Yes," Vader said. Luke Skywalker looked at his mother. His mother stood between them. His mother was 19. His mother had brown eyes. His mother had kind hands. "Mama," Luke said. "Is this man really my father?" Padmé walked over to Vader. She put her hand on the shoulder plate of his black suit. The hand looked very small against the black armor. "Yes," she said. "This is your father. His name is Anakin Skywalker, the boy I fell in love with on Tatooine when I was 14 years old. The boy who was 9 when I met him. The boy who built C-3PO out of protocol droids because he was lonely. The boy who promised me he would come back from the war." She looked at Vader. "The boy is still in there," she said. Anakin Skywalker did not know what to do with his hands. The black suit had gloves. The gloves covered everything. The gloves had no fingers. His hands had no fingers. "How did you?" Luke began. "I lost them," Anakin said. 19 years ago, on a planet called Mustafar. The planet where your mother almost died. The planet where I burned." Luke looked down at the black gloves. "Show me," Luke said. "Show you what?" "Show me the scars." Anakin reached up to his helmet. He touched the release clasps. He hesitated. He had not taken the helmet off in front of another living human in 19 years. He had taken it off in front of mirrors. He had taken it off alone in dark rooms. He had never taken it off in front of his wife. He had never taken it off in front of his son. But his son was asking, and his wife was watching, and the Force was singing. The helmet came off. The face underneath was not the face of Darth Vader. The face underneath was the face of a man who had been burned. The face underneath was pale. The face underneath had no eyes. The face underneath had a mouth that had been split open and wired back together. The face underneath had a scar that ran from the right temple to the left jaw, but the mouth was still his mouth, and the chin was still his chin. Luke Skywalker walked closer. He stood in front of his father. He looked up into his father's face. "Your eyes," Luke said. "Gone," Anakin said. "Palpatine took them." "Your hair, burned, then it grew back. It is gray. Your beard." Vader, no, Anakin touched the gray beard with his black glove. The beard was thin. The beard was soft. The beard had been grown over burn scars. "I grew it in the suit," Anakin said, "because I missed touching things. I missed soft things. I missed my mother." Padmé walked to Anakin's side. She put her hand on his burned face. She did not flinch. She did not pull away. She put her hand on his burned face the way you put your hand on the face of a man you have loved for 20 years. "It is the face I married," she said. Anakin Skywalker was not able to feel his face. The nerves had been damaged. The nerves had been replaced by servos. The nerves had been replaced by wires. Anakin had not felt his wife's touch on his face in 19 years. But when Padmé put her hand on his cheek, when Padmé slid her thumb across his burn scar, when Padmé leaned in and put her lips against the corner of his mouth, Anakin felt it. He felt her. The Force was singing. The Force was catching up. The Force was putting the broken pieces back together. He put his arms around her. His arms were huge. His arms were black metal. His arms wrapped around her like two shields. But her head fit under his chin. Her head fit perfectly under his chin. Her head had always fit perfectly under his chin. From the day they had met, when she had been 14 and he had been 9, he did not cry. He could not cry. His tear ducts had been burned away, but his chest shook. His chest shook the way a chest shakes when a man is doing everything he can to keep from crying. Luke stepped away from his parents. He walked to the window. He looked out at the twin suns of Tatooine setting over the Jundland wastes. "Alderaan," Luke said. Anakin nodded. "Your sister was there," Anakin said. "The woman I have been hearing on the rebellion broadcasts," Luke said. "The senator, the one who called for the rebellion after the Empire dissolved the Senate." "Yes," Anakin said. "That was Leia." Luke's jaw tightened. Luke had heard Leia's voice on the broadcasts. Luke had heard her call for the restoration of the Republic. Luke had heard her call her people the hope of the galaxy. Luke had fallen a little in love with Leia's voice. "Where is she now?" Luke asked. Anakin was quiet. "Your sister died on Alderaan," Anakin said. "The Death Star, the same weapon she spent her life trying to fight, the same weapon my master used to punish her for opposing it." Luke stared at his father. "You killed her?" Luke asked. "My master ordered it," Anakin said. "I did not resist. I did not stop it. I let it happen." Padmé sank into a chair. She put her face in her hands. Her hands had touched her daughter's portrait 6 hours before. Her hands had said, "She has my eyes." Her hands would never touch her daughter's face. "How did it come to this?" Padmé asked the dark. Anakin did not answer. Anakin did not know how it had come to this. Anakin had not planned it. Anakin had been a boy. Anakin had been a Jedi apprentice. Anakin had been a husband. Anakin had been a father. Anakin had been a senator's protector. Anakin had been a war general. Anakin had been scared. Anakin had been scared because his wife had been pregnant. Anakin had been scared because the Jedi had told him to let go of his fear. Anakin had been scared because he had been told that fear was the path to the dark side. The Jedi had been wrong about fear. Fear was not the path to the dark side. Fear was the door, and fear could be opened from either side. Anakin had walked through the door because he had no one to hold his hand on the other side. Anakin had walked through the door because no one had said, "Fear is valid. Fear is real. Fear does not make you weak." Anakin had walked through the door because no one had said, "Your wife is right here. Your wife will not leave you. Your wife is not going to die. Your wife is going to live. And your wife is going to be the mother of your children." Padmé lifted her face from her hands. She looked at Anakin. She looked at the black suit. She looked at the control panel. She looked at the cable that ran from the control panel to the respirator that ran to the helmet. "Anakin," she said, "take off the suit." Anakin shook his head. "I cannot," Anakin said. "Yes, you can," Padmé said. "If I take off the suit, I cannot breathe. I do not have lungs. Then we will get you lungs. If I take off the suit, I will bleed. Then we will stop the bleeding. If I take off the suit, I will die. Then we will keep you alive." Anakin was quiet. "My papa used to tell me about the 100,000 healers of Grismalt," Padmé said. "He told me about the bone knitters of Iradu. He told me about the lung growers of Grot." Anakin looked at her. "I am not Padmé Amidala the senator anymore," Padmé said. "I am Padmé Amidala, the wife of the boy who was 9 years old when I met him. And I am going to find you lungs, and I am going to find you blood, and I am going to find you a real face." Anakin's chest shook again. The next morning, Padmé activated Bail Organa's old code in the secure holonet. The code had not been used in 19 years. The code was the code of the Republic in exile. Bail Organa's widow, Briha's twin sister, who had taken the title of Princess of Alderaan in memoriam, answered the call. "Identify," the princess said. "Naboo," Padmé said. "Skywalker, wife of Anakin Skywalker, mother of Luke and Leia." There was a long silence. "You died 19 years ago," the princess said. "I did," Padmé said. "I woke up yesterday." "Where are you?" "Tatooine, the moisture farm outside Anchorhead." "Are you alone?" Padmé looked at Anakin. She looked at Luke. "No," she said. "I am not alone." Is he?" "He is here," Padmé said. "He came back." The princess was quiet for another 7 seconds. "We need to talk," the princess said. "In person. Bring him. Bring the boy. Come to Eriadu. The bone knitters are waiting." Luke stood on the hill above the moisture farm that evening. He watched his father's ship sitting on the sand of the landing pad. His father's ship was a Lambda-class shuttle. The shuttle had the Imperial crest painted on its side. The crest was the crest of the Empire. The crest was the crest of the men who had killed his aunt and uncle. The crest was the crest of the men who had blown up Alderaan. Luke Skywalker was a pilot. Luke Skywalker was about to leave Tatooine and join the rebellion. Luke Skywalker was about to fly his father's old X-Wing out of Beggar's Canyon and head for the black holes of Yavin and fight. Now his father was here. Now his mother was alive. Now everything he had planned was changed. He did not know which way to turn. He sat on the hill. He looked at the two suns setting. He thought about his father. He thought about his mother. He thought about his sister. He thought about what he was going to do. Padmé walked up the hill. She sat down beside her son. She did not say anything. She just sat beside him. The two suns were setting. The sand was cooling. The crate dragons were beginning to call from the Jundland wastes. "Mama," Luke said, "I don't know what to do." Padmé nodded. "Tell me what you feel," she said. "I feel angry," Luke said, "that he did not come for me, that he chose the suit, that he let the Empire hunt my sister's people, that he did not fight the Death Star." "Yes," Padmé said, "all of those things are true. I feel sad," Luke said, "for Leia. She died alone. She died without me. She died without knowing I existed." "Yes," Padmé said, "I feel like I want to fight," Luke said. "I want to fly to Coruscant. I want to fight Palpatine. I want to join the rebellion." "Yes," Padmé said, "and I also feel like I want to stay here," Luke said, "with you, with Papa. I feel like I want to be a family for the first time in my life." "Yes," Padmé said. "Both are true," Luke said. Padmé put her arm around her son. The boy was 19. The boy was almost as tall as she was. The boy was almost as broad as his father. "Both are true," she said. "Both are right. Both are needed. You do not have to choose one and kill the other. You can do both. You can fight Palpatine. You can also be a son. You can be both at the same time." The bone knitters of Eriadu worked for 3 months. They did not use the Force. They used only their hands and their tools and their medicines. They had grown new lungs for thousands of soldiers of the Clone Wars. They had grown new faces for pilots whose faces had been burned in crashes. They had grown new fingers for children born without fingers. They did not know they were working on Darth Vader. They did not know they were working on the man who had been the right hand of the Emperor. They thought they were working on a former clone soldier. They thought they were working on a wounded veteran. The bone knitters gave Anakin new lungs. The bone knitters gave Anakin new blood vessels. The bone knitters grafted new skin onto the burned scars on his face. The bone knitters sewed new tear ducts into the empty sockets of his eyes. They could not grow new eyes. They could never grow new eyes, but they made his face look mostly human. And they made his body able to breathe without the suit. Anakin Skywalker took off the suit for the first time in 19 years. He stood in the center of the medical bay on Eriadu. He was wearing a thin medical gown. The gown was white. The gown smelled of bleach. Padmé stood in front of him. Luke stood beside her. Anakin was thin. Anakin was pale. Anakin was bent in the shoulders from 19 years of carrying the suit. Anakin had burns that ran from his feet to his jaw. Anakin had scars where the suit had pressed into his skin. But he was alive, and he looked like a man. Padmé walked up to him. She put her arms around him. She put her head on his shoulder. His shoulder was thin. His shoulder was no longer the broad iron shoulder of the suit. His shoulder was just a shoulder of a man, a shoulder of her husband. "I missed you," she said. Anakin put his arms around her. He held her the way he had held her the day they had married. He held her the way he had held her the day their babies had been born. "I missed you too," he said. His voice was small. His voice was without the modulator. His voice was the voice of the boy from Tatooine that she had met when he was 9. 3 months later, Anakin Skywalker, Padmé Amidala, and Luke Skywalker flew to Coruscant. They flew in Padmé's old Naboo cruiser. They flew in the small silver ship that Padmé had been given when she had been elected Queen of Naboo at 14 years old. They flew into the heart of the Empire. They flew past the Star Destroyers. They flew past the Imperial patrols. They flew to the Senate Rotunda. The rotunda was half empty. The rotunda was almost abandoned. The rotunda was full of senators who did not believe in anything anymore. The rotunda was full of senators who had given up. Anakin Skywalker walked into the center of the rotunda in his thin medical gown. He walked in without the helmet. He walked in without the cape. The senators stared at him. "I am Anakin Skywalker," he said. "I was Darth Vader for 19 years. I am the husband of Padmé Amidala. I am the father of Luke Skywalker. I am the son of Shmi Skywalker of Tatooine. I am a citizen of the Republic." The rotunda was silent. "I am here to surrender," Anakin said. The surrender trial lasted 7 days. Bail Organa's widow sat as the Chief Justice. Padmé sat as a witness. Luke sat as a witness. The testimonies were read. The records of 19 years of Imperial atrocities were read aloud. The names of planets that had been destroyed. The names of cities that had been burned. The names of children who had been killed in the Jedi Purge. The testimonies ended on the 7th day. The Chief Justice called Anakin to the center of the rotunda. "Anakin Skywalker," she said, "you have been found guilty of crimes against the galaxy. The sentence is death. Anakin nodded. But, the Chief Justice said, I am granting you one mercy. I am granting you one leniency. I am granting you 7 days with your family before the sentence is carried out. Go home, hold your wife, hold your son, talk, eat, sleep, and come back in 7 days. Anakin Skywalker bowed. Thank you, Your Highness, he said. Padmé Skywalker held his arm. Luke Skywalker held his other arm. The three of them walked out of the rotunda. They walked out into the sunlight of Coruscant. They flew back to Tatooine. They flew to the moisture farm. They flew to the small white dome. They flew to the home of Owen and Beru Lars, who had been killed by the Empire, whose home was empty now, whose home was waiting for the family that had never lived in it. Anakin and Padmé and Luke ate dinner together that night. They ate dinner the way the family had not been together since Padmé had gone into the mausoleum 19 years before. They talked. They did not talk about the trial. They did not talk about the Empire. They did not talk about the war. They talked about Watto. They talked about Anakin's mother. They talked about the speeder Anakin had built when he was 9. They talked about C-3PO, who was still in the Lars attic. They talked about Padmé's first speech before the Senate, when she had been 14 years old and had refused to let the Senate vote for war. They talked about Leia. They talked about Alderaan. They talked about Bail. They talked about Leia's last day, the day she had called the rebellion to fight the Death Star, the day she had not known that her brother was on the same planet as her father. On the morning of Day 7, Anakin Skywalker woke up early. He woke up before the twin suns rose. He woke up in the bed he had shared with his wife for 7 nights. Padmé was asleep. Luke was asleep in the next room. Anakin walked to the door of the moisture farm. He looked out at the desert. He looked at the twin moons setting. He looked at the Jundland wastes. He sat down on the threshold. A ship landed half an hour later. The ship was Bail Organa's old diplomatic shuttle. The ship had Bail's crest on its side. The Chief Justice stepped out. She was alone. She was carrying a single datapad. Anakin Skywalker, she said. Yes, Anakin said. I have read the testimonies again, the Chief Justice said. I have read the records of the last 7 days. I have heard from your wife. I have heard from your son. Anakin was still. I am granting clemency, the Chief Justice said. The sentence of death is suspended. You are sentenced to life in a rehabilitation facility on the planet Kifu. Your wife and your son may visit you there. You will spend the rest of your days building with your hands. You will spend the rest of your days teaching other people who have fallen how to climb back up. Anakin Skywalker dropped his head. Thank you, Your Highness, he said. The rehabilitation facility on Kifu was not a prison. The rehabilitation facility on Kifu was a workshop. The workshop was full of tools. The workshop was full of wood. The workshop was full of metal. The workshop was full of painters' brushes and sculptors' chisels and seamstresses' needles. The facility was full of people who had fallen. The facility was full of former Sith. The facility was full of former Inquisitors. The facility was full of clone soldiers who had been decommissioned and had not known what to do with their hands. Anakin Skywalker walked into the workshop on his first day. He was wearing the thin medical gown. He was still thin. He was still pale. He was still bent in the shoulders. The workshop foreman was an old Twi'lek man. The foreman looked at Anakin. What can you build? The foreman asked. Anakin thought. I can build a droid out of protocol parts, he said. I can build a speeder out of scrap. I can build a pod racer out of junkyard engines. I can build a house out of moisture farm parts. Woofa nodded. Star nodded. Welcome, the foreman said. Luke Skywalker did not stay on Tatooine. Luke Skywalker did not join the rebellion. Luke Skywalker did not join the New Republic. Luke Skywalker did not become a Jedi. Luke Skywalker took a job as a pilot. Luke Skywalker flew freighters. Luke Skywalker flew medical ships. Luke Skywalker flew grain to planets that were starving. Luke Skywalker kept his father's old lightsaber in the bottom of his pilot's locker. The lightsaber was blue. The lightsaber was small. The lightsaber had been built by his father's master, who had been killed by his father's master. Luke flew every day. He came home every night. He came home to the moisture farm where his parents had lived. His mother was there. His father was on Kifu, but he was allowed to come home every 6 months for a long visit. Luke went to his father's workshop on his first visit. He saw what his father had built. His father had built a throne for Leia. The throne was carved from a single piece of wood from Kifu. The throne was beautiful. The throne had Leia's name carved into the back in small letters. The throne had been finished 5 months ago. The throne had been waiting for a home to ship it to. Luke Skywalker picked up the throne and he cried. And his father stood in front of him, and his father did not know what to do, and his father just held his son and let him cry. Padmé Amidala woke up on the morning of her 100th birthday. She was still 19. She was still beautiful. She was still alive. The Force had preserved her. The Force had put her in the mausoleum for 19 years. The Force had woken her up when her husband had come back. The Force had kept her alive because the Force wanted her to be the mother of her son and the wife of her husband. She woke up in the home on Tatooine. Her husband was sleeping beside her. Her son was asleep in the next room. She got up. She walked to the window. She looked at the twin suns rising over the Junland wastes. The Force was singing. The Force was singing a song she had not heard in 20 years. The Force was singing the song that little Jedi children heard when they were 5 years old. The Force was singing the song that Yoda had tried to teach to every youngling in every temple, in every corner of the galaxy. The song said, "You are not alone." The song said, "You have never been alone." The song said, "The Force will hold you forever." The song said, "The Force will bring you home." And Padmé sang it. She sang it the way the song wanted to be sung, softly, slowly, like a lullaby. Like the lullaby her mother had sung to her when she had been 5 years old on the cliffs above the waterfalls of Naboo. Luke came into the room. He sat beside her. He put his head on her shoulder. Anakin came into the room. He sat beside her. He put his arm around her. The song was for the family. The song was for the father who had fallen. The song was for the mother who had been asleep. The song was for the son who had grown up alone. The song was for the daughter who had died. The song was for the children of the new Jedi Order who would never know what the war had been like. The song was for the galaxy, and the song was for you. And the song was for every child who has ever been afraid that their parents were gone. Your parents are not gone. Your parents are right here. And the song will bring you home.